a HMO's dead. I think small HMOs are. My view is that if you're the best of the best, you're going to have more of an advantage over others. Obviously, you have to be a little bit more softer with your numbers on filling rooms. There's macro and micro issues. I think we are in quite a good location from a micro perspective, and that's typically the only thing that you can control. I'm feeling like a little bit of sensitivity in the market around HMOs. A landlord that is based down in Bristol, very reputable HMO landlord, is fundamentally really struggling to fill their rooms. He told me that 3 years ago, he would have 140 inquiries for one room. Now he has 3, and that's like the difference in his marketplace. Now, the really difficult thing about HMOs is you have macro impacts and you have micro impacts. So micro impacts is saturation in the area with professional landlords. Macro impacts is cost of living crisis, for an example. So it's very difficult for everyone to be on the same page when it comes to filling your rooms and how is everyone getting on filling their rooms, because you don't know the tenant type, you don't know what is pushing and pulling those factors. But I thought I would share some of the most common thoughts behind this. There's essentially a lot of opinion that people are potentially, the legal migration is slowing down and the technically illegal migration is increasing, and they are not typically housed in privately run HMOs. Typically, people are talking about less jobs coming to the market. So essentially, if people aren't relocating or working, they might stay with mum and dad or might not relocate, or actually look at sharing a property with someone like a 1-bed flat or a 2-bed flat in particular. There's obviously mention of cost of living and high salaries have caught up with young professionals. I'm going to actually completely contradict this. I think that HMOs are there to combat the cost of living crisis. Let me give you an example. I live in Henley-on-Thames, and I'll also give you an example of another town. If you want to rent a 1-bedroom flat in Henley, you're paying $1,100 to $1,200 a month. You will then have council tax bills, Wi-Fi, water, gas, heating, electric, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to be in for $2,000 a month. Our HMO rooms in Henley-on-Thames are £850 per month, all bills including. So I actually think we're a cheaper option than renting something else. Yes, it means that people might live with mum and dad longer, or potentially family and friends longer. But realistically, I think HMOs are an amazing solution for the cost of living crisis. I also think, and this is kind of a bit of a backhanded compliment as a landlord, but I do believe that the problem with cost of living equally is making first-time buyers an older age, so they're renting for longer, again, making a gap for renting HMOs. Some HMO investors have moved into social housing, so just fixing a lease. The sort of general consensus on this whole page is quite a lot of people are struggling to let their whole portfolio. We've got the Renters Reform Act coming in a month. It is a little bit daunting. My view is that if you're the best of the best, you're going to have more of an advantage over others. Obviously, you have to be a little bit more softer with your numbers on filling rooms. I know that we typically allow about 4 weeks to fill a HMO completely end to end. Some other projects that are larger might be slightly longer, but that's typically what we particularly aim for. Some really clever guy on this group, he basically said, in Great Yarmouth, we're full. Now, what an idiot, because everyone now reading this is thinking, well, if he's full, that's probably a good area to focus on. I was literally reading through some of these comments, and it's just funny that all the handbags that were being thrown around. But I suppose one takeaway that I would recommend is it is interesting reading these contextualized conversations that other landlords are having. And I also found an article on there which has been sort of pushed around some Facebook groups about the government charging £7,000 if landlords don't submit the right relevant data with the Renters Reform Act before a very specific date, 31st of May 2026. You have to provide a few different details to basically the government, which is fun. So make sure you've got a plan of action for that. I'm feeling like a little bit of sensitivity in the market around HMOs. Equally, another thing I was going to quickly mention is this other HMO landlord in Bristol was saying that he also struggles to make HMOs work that are less than 6 bedrooms, which brings in the complexity of Sui Generis planning, especially if you're in Article 4 to have any HMO, but Sui Generis planning is obviously that particular layer further. I don't really plug into the HMO world that much. I just know how the numbers work. We buy the sites and then I leave the lettings to my brother. But it's interesting just sort of diving in and having a quick look at what the market is saying and argue over what's what. I think there's macro and micro issues. I think we are in quite a good location from a micro perspective, and that's typically the only thing that you can control. And I was actually talking to my brother about a dashboard that we're building out to look at the time period between a void being open and then filled. We typically just had a percentage on the portfolio overall, like how many of our rooms are empty, but we're now going into a layer of detail to make sure that we're on our onions to refill those rooms. And another interesting debate that was going on in this group is some people were arguing whether you should drop the price and fill it or leave it vacant, because it's difficult, because you either, let's say you've got a 750 quid room, but you could fill it at 650. That's spread over 6 months. You're losing 600 quid. But if you fill it a month sooner, you've got that 600 quid back. So I just don't see it as an argument. It's like, well, it's kind of like you need to know your onions on how quickly you are going to fill that at that price, or you're going to have to drop the price. And we actually have a bit of a model in XP surveys that it's not just the revenue that you're missing out on, it's also the cost. Your cost to run that unit has a fixed cost every day. So it's not like whether you get 750 or 850 for it, the 100 quid difference is the difference. The other factor to think about is you have a fixed cost to have that room vacant. And if you're not covering that, you're at a net loss every day until that is filled. So it's definitely worthwhile acknowledging that as well. But yeah, that was it on HMO's dead. I think small HMOs are.
If you got value from this video, make sure you click the subscribe button down below and ring the notification bell, because we release one video at least every week, so you'll be the first to get notified. See you on the next one.